our lives often take unexpected turns, joy and loss, pain and pleasure. We witness the birth of a child, a difficult diagnosis, the loss of a loved one. For some, the hardships are losing family in a genocide. How do we make sense of these triumphs and tragedies? In this episode, called The Gifts God Gives, we discuss the way Allah recounts to Musa salam the events of his own life, surviving a genocide, raised by his enemy, accidentally killing a man, exile, and shows him how in every step he was under God's loving eye. This is Quran Conversations, the podcast for anyone who wishes to unlock the meaning and healing power of the Quran. I'm your host, Dalia Mogahed, an author, researcher, and a student of the Quran. I'll be in conversation with one of my dearest teachers, Imam Muhammad Majid, a scholar of the Quran and longtime family counselor and congregational leader. If you're enjoying this podcast, please review it on your podcasting platform. It helps more than you know. Quran Conversations is sponsored by Fawakih, an online learning platform for Quranic Arabic, which I myself use. Start your journey in unlocking the language of the Quran. Go to fawakih.org. We hope this podcast encourages your own reflective journey with the Quran. Make sure to stay until the end to hear this week's reflection prompt. For more spiritual insights, follow me on Instagram at Dalia Mogahed. Without further ado, let's dive into the episode. This week covers ayahs 38 to 40 in Surah TaHa. Where we left off last week is with a conversation between Allah and Musa alayhi salam, where he asks for the help of his brother. And in response, Allah grants him that help and reminds him that this is not the first time he has helped him. And so those two ayahs that we ended with, I'm going to start with as soon as I greet Imam Majid. Assalamu alaikum, Imam Majid.
Alaikum assalam, Sayyida Dalia. Alhamdulillah.
Wonderful.
We are back into track.
Yes, alhamdulillah. Very good to have you. I'll just start with those two ayahs, and then we'll start with the ayah that we're going to discuss today. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال قد أوتيت سؤلك يا موسى ولقد مننا عليك مرة أخرى. God said, Moses, your request is granted. Indeed, we showed you favor before. Before going into the next ayah, which we'll spend some time on, the next several ayahs rather, I just wanted to point something out that I thought was very beautiful, which is the word mananna. Manna is, in Arabic, means two things. It as a noun, it means a huge weight. And as a verb, it means to grant a favor. And so by combining the two meanings, we understand that it's a favor that is a very heavy, significant favor. So Allah is saying to Musa, indeed, we have provided you with a heavy, big favor. Indeed, we have showed you a huge, huge favor before. And it's very interesting. Before seems like a series of tragedies. So I thought this was very important to point out that Allah is reminding him, I'm gonna give you this favor you're asking for of your brother helping you. But actually, I want you to know that we've been showing you, that Allah has showed you a very heavy favor throughout before this. And we're going to learn about that.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you went back to it, manna, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibited us to do man as a human being toward one another. قال لا تبطلوا صدقاتكم بالمن والأذى. do not give sadaqah and charity, and then you said to people, I have done a favor to you.
Right.
Don't remind people.
Don't remind people of your favors.
What you have done for them.
Right.
And what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, that if you do sadaqah, that has to be only for His sake. Cannot be sadaqah and then you say for the sake of Allah, and then you telling a person, keep telling a person, didn't I do this for you? Didn't I do for you? Also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, do not do man to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam by telling him that we are Muslims. يمنون عليك أن أسلموا قل لا تمنوا علي إسلامكم بل الله يمن عليكم أن هداكم للإيمان. Don't say that you have done a favor to Allah. You will not be able to do a favor to Allah nor to His Prophet. Allah, the one who have done a favor to you, will be Muslim. Why this is important? Because we as a human being will not be in a position to benefit Allah, nor will be in a position to harm Allah.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, Allah said in the Hadith Qudsi, O my servants, if all of you believed and you become the most righteous people, that does not increase Allah's majesty and glory. If all of you decide not to believe, that does not diminish Allah's glory and majesty.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, it's very important that only Allah does the man.
Yes.
Because he the one who has the absolute mercy and absolute forgiveness and everything. Everything is about him is infinite. Therefore, human being, they should not have man. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to Musa, وَلَقَدْ مَنَنَّا عَلَيْكَ مَرَّةً أُخْرى. In that ayah just recited, Allah قال بل الله يمن عليكم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who tell you that, who will tell you, be grateful that I made you be able to believe in hadakum lil-Islam. If we would like to count the favor of Allah upon us, from birth to death, until we die, we'll not be able to count them. وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَظَلُومٌ كَفَّارٌ. If you want to count the blessing of Allah upon you, you'll not be able to count them. If you start writing them, typing them, recording them, every cell in our body is a favor. Cell. Because if one cell enlarged, that's a sickness.
Yes.
It become abnormal. Every time we breathe, every second that we breathe is a favor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How can we count how many seconds we're breathing until today? Depends how old are you listening to us. How are you going to be able to count that? Every drop of the blood in our body is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said you will not be able to count the blessing, what do you do then? You do your best and you seek His forgiveness for falling short, not thanking Him enough. One of the scholars was quoting Dawood alayhi salam when he says, "Oh Allah, how can I show gratitude toward you? And my ability to show gratitude itself is a favor from you. I need to show gratitude for it. كيف أشكرك وشكري لك نعمة." He made a commentary on that and he says, what that means, our shukr needs shukr and our hamd for Allah need hamd. Yes. The ability to thank Allah, you need to thank Him for ability to thank Him. Mm-hmm. And therefore it's amazing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as Musa alayhi salam was asking for all this favor, He said, I'm going to give you this, but I gave you a favor before. I would like just to connect this to one thing. When Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the experience, the stop of the wahi for a while, the pause of the wahi, and Rasul sallam was emotionally disturbed by that. And people said that Allah have forsaken Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah doesn't like him anymore. Is the word qala means. Then Allah revealed Surah Al-Duha. الضحى الليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى للآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى. That Allah will give you until you become pleased. But he reminded him of his childhood. ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى وجدك ضالا فهدى وجدك عائلا فأغنى. Just like Musa alayhi salam. Allah mentioned to him his before your prophethood, I have done this favor to you. Therefore, there's a requirement for responding to this favor. Because he said, أما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling Musa alayhi salam, when he asked him for help, he said, I've been helping you all along. I saved you from so many troubles. I'm going to remind you of them so that you stay focused.
Thank you so much, Imam Majid. Would you please read the next two ayahs, 38 and 39? We can discuss them.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. إذ أوحينا إلى أمك ما يوحى أن اقذفيه في التابوت فاقذفيه في اليم فليلقه اليم بالساحل يأخذه عدو لي وعدو له وألقيت عليك محبة مني ولتصنع على عيني.
Allah, Allah. So beautiful. So after Allah says to him, indeed we showed you favor before, he goes on to say, we inspired your mother saying, put your child into the chest, then place him in the river. Let the river wash him onto its bank, and he will be taken by an enemy of mine and his. I showered you with my love and planned that you should be reared under my watchful eye. So let's begin, inshallah, with the first ayah that we read. When we reveal to your mother what was revealed. إِذْ أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَىٰ أُمِّكَ مَا يُوحَىٰ.
Yeah, the word wahi in Arabic, it means to talk to someone privately.
Yes.
الإخبار في السر.
Mm-hmm.
If you have private conversation with someone, it's called wahi. But there's a wahi that comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is a private conversation or private revelation to the Prophet. Now, but the wahi in the Quran came in different form. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أوحى ربك إلى النحل. Allah inspired the bees, directed the bees to build their homes in mountains and trees and so forth. We call that al-wahy al-gharizi, instant inspiring them by giving them this direction of naturally to do this. And then the wahy of private whispering of shayateen. إن الشياطين يلوحون لأوليائهم ليجادلوكم. Shayateen make wahi, which means in private, secretly telling people how to fight you. And there's a wahi Allah have sent upon the malaika. It's أوحى ربك إلى الملائكة أني معكم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the malaika, I'm with you, give strength to the believer. And there's a wahi of mother of Musa that we're talking about here, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspired her.
Yes.
We call it ilham. And inspiring her, either he put that in her heart and her mind, if had the comfort to know that's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or he showed her that, as Imam Nasafi said, in the dream.
Okay.
But she come to know that for sure from Allah, an order from Allah. Like the Ibrahim alayhi salam saw a dream and his son said, this is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And of course, there's a wahi that Allah revealed to a prophet, like it revealed to the Rasul, the Quran, So it's very interesting that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling him, you are not the only person that I revealed something to. I did that for your mother as well.
Yeah.
It's very interesting that the mother of Isa, alayhi salam, Maryam, had that experience. And some ulama argued that Sayyidah Amina have felt something when she was pregnant with Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. She saw something good from her body that have led the Syria and Yemen and so forth. Now, the order here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the mother of Musa, is very interesting. A mother is worried about her child. If it wasn't of an order of Allah, it is not possible for a woman to throw her child into the water.
Right.
Because, that take this child of yours and put him in the tabut and put him in the Nile. That has to be a wahi. I'm just explaining this verse, the second verse, with the first verse.
Yes.
Where the order is indicate that was not just her own thinking. Otherwise, a mother would not have done that. If it wasn't, for sure, she come to know it's from Allah subhanahu.
Yes. It wasn't, if it wasn't from Allah, it would not be possible to do something like that. And the interesting thing is that private inspiration to the mother of Musa to put him in a chest and put him in the river is part of a huge favor, even though it was something extremely difficult to do. And so keeping in mind that piece, that this heavy favor includes being put in a chest, being put in a river as a baby, with all of the dangers that entails, and then having your enemy pick you up, the same enemy that has ordered all of the boys of Bani Israel to be killed. The very man you're trying to protect your child from is the one that's going to actually take him when you put him in the river. So the danger of the river and the danger of the very person who finds him, all of that, again, being a part of a favor. And I think this is so important to keep in mind, that these difficult moments in his life are now being reinterpreted for him, reframed. They're being assigned different meaning. I had a question, Imam Majid, about the word for that's being used here for throw him or place him in the chest. So, اقذفيه في التابوت فاقذفيه. So the word اقذفيه is cast him or throw him, and it's different from the word used earlier in the surah, ألقيها يا Musa, when he's talking about letting go of his stick. And then there's also the word فَخْلَعْ عَلَيْكَ, take off your shoes. So all of these different words that are describing letting something go, moving something, casting something aside, throwing something. Would you comment on the differences between these words, especially the one فَأَلْقِيهَا and فَقْذِفِيهِ, which is the one used for the stick, and then versus the one used for Musa's mother throwing him in the river?
This is a very interesting question that you raised. First of all, I would like to say that this ayah, there's a similar ayah, like in Surah Al-Qasas,
yes,
where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked mother of Maryam to breastfeed him first, and to nurse him first, and then to do that.
Right.
The word qadhafa is to separate something from something with with force.
Mm.
Force. She's so attached to him.
Yes.
The last one says, I want you to let go.
Yeah.
And trust me. She would like she felt like the force of separation. Because she's a mother. She was so attached. Now she put him in the tabut. But the tabut with this could be like a box or something,
Mm-hmm.
and put him on the river. فأقذفيه في اليم. Now let him go in the river. Can you imagine the moment of separation, the emotional that the mother is doing, throwing the baby on the water and seeing the water take him away? That's what al-qadhafa. You know?
Mm-hmm.
For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala want her to let go. There's nothing explained tawakkul more than this word أغذفيه.
Mm. SubhanAllah.
Absolute trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yani, it is maybe Fir'aun will knock the door, may not knock the door, may find Musa, may not find Musa alayhi salam. You have to remember this is preemptive, like, do this. And قالوا إن خفتي, the other ayah said, if you get worried about him, don't do this. If this was not wahi, a mother would never have done that, as I said earlier. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked her to do this. The word alqa in Arabic is to throw something. The stick, Musa alayhi is not attached to the stick. That's not like different with the stick and having a baby,
Mm-hmm.
And then أقذفيه أيضا is maybe put him separate from him, but not throw him. This idea of letting go with intentionality.
Mm-hmm.
That is maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will save him, because Allah told her he will save him. So it is a very interesting that he used a verb twice.
Mm-hmm.
أن أقذفيه في التابوت فأقذفيه في اليم. Put him in the tabut, and then immediately after that, put him into the water.
A tabut, just to remind everyone, is the chest or the cradle or the box that he's being put in. That's what a tabut is.
Exactly. Like a box.
Yeah.
But it becomes like a boat for Musa alayhi salam.
Mm-hmm.
It is very interesting that the relationship with Musa alayhi salam and water is his first relationship with the water. He will have another water, that's where he met his wife, and then another water where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala drowned Fir'aun, another water, where after they crossed the sea, asked for water. You have a lot of water in his life. But the first experience with him, with the water at the symbol of the story. And having her to see that before her eyes, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you see the interesting things in this whole story of Musa alayhi salam. Why the mother of Musa was worried about her son, so the Fir'aun will not discover him. Allah said, I will deliver him to Fir'aun, but don't worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of Fir'aun coming knocking your door, I will bring him to the door of Fir'aun.
Yeah.
But the amazing things here, he said, يَأْخُذُ وَعَدُوٌ لِي وَعَدُوٌ لَهُ. My enemy and his enemy will take him.
Yes.
But you, Ustad Dalia, you see in the verse, he said, يَأْخُذُهُ. He didn't say عَدُوٌ لَهُ first. عَدُوٌ لِي. If a person is the enemy of Allah, he will not be able to fight Allah. For Allah said to her, he's not your enemy only, Fir'aun. Don't think he's your enemy, but he's my enemy too. Can a person, can you imagine, have common enemy with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? the enemy of your enemy is the enemy of Allah. How that enemy gonna win?
Yeah.
The hadith Qudsi, من عاد لي وليا فقد أذنته بالحرب. Whoever become enemy of my wali, I wage war against them, Allah says. قد يأخذه عدو لي وعدو له. طيب, Then Allah went and talked to Musa alayhi salam. In the same verse, Allah said, وَأَلْقَيْتُ عَلَيْكَ مَحَبَّةً مِّنِّي وَلِتُصْنَعَ عَلَى عَيْنِي. This word, mahabbat minni, I want just to tell our audience, don't worry who does not love you, if Allah loves you.
Yeah.
As Rabbi al-Adawiyya said, إذا صح منك الود فالكل هين وكل الذي فوق التراب ترابه. Oh Allah, if you love me, I don't care who does not. Because everything is dust upon dust. كل من عليها فان. And that's remind us that when Allah loves somebody, He called Jibreel alayhi salam. And He said to Jibreel, "Oh Jibreel, I have declared my love for so and so. Oh Jibreel, love that person." Then Jibreel will love the person. And then Jibreel alayhi salam will make an announcement in heaven for all the angels. Allah have declared His love for so and so. And therefore He asks you to love them. And they love that person. Then Allah will send that love down to the earth. And they become loved by righteous and good people. That is what this وَأَلْقَيْتُ عَلَيْكَ مَحَبَّةً مِّنِّي وَلِتُصْنَعَ عَلَى عَيْنِي. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him that you will be raised before my eyes. You know, and a sister one time told me she lost her infant child, like a child 6 months old, passed away. And I told her that Allah took your child, would raise him for you, يصنع على عين الله, and the child will meet you at the age of 32 in the door of paradise. You don't have to pay any tuition.
Yes.
You don't have to take him to medical checkup, doctors. You don't have to worry them being sick. Allah will never have a mother to go through that losing of a child and will not compensate her. I told her that your child will meet you at the door of paradise. This is not my saying, Muhammad Majid. The Prophet ﷺ told us. The children that been mentioned in the Quran, it's not the children of the Muslims that have died before the age of puberty. That's misunderstanding. Those are the children being created for paradise. Paradise has children. But the children that they've died before the age of puberty, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had them to grow and meet their parents and intercede in their behalf. And when Al-Qasim died, alayhi salam, the son of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, his mother Khadija, radallahu anha, alayhi salam, when Rasul sallallahu come to see her after he buried his son, said, Ya Rasul, labnat al-Qasim. He said, I have milk for my child. It's a time for him nursing. And he's not here to nurse. I feel like, a milk for him. For Rasulullah said, with sadness, Allah have designated a nursing mother for your child in paradise. The child was taken care of. For Rasulullah, Sayyida Khadija will unite with their children that they have lost in this dunya.
Wow, what a beautiful comfort. I mean, there's really nothing more difficult than losing a child. Just even from the perspective of psychology, it's one of the few things we almost never recover from. So to have this beautiful comfort, and there's so many teachings in Islam regarding the loss of a child, even miscarriages, that give people enormous comfort. Something so simple is like a stillbirth. The baby is named buried, given a janazah and
Yes.
everything like that. And this actually gives people so much. It's of course still very difficult, but it gives them so much comfort
Yes.
and a sense of closure. Like, I did lose a soul. It wasn't just cells, and I've had mothers who have had this experience who aren't Muslim tell me the fact that there was no recognition of what was actually lost. Like, it was just sort of, I was, just treated like it was some medical procedure, and the body was kind of just disposed of, was traumatizing on top of the trauma. And the idea, a very close friend of mine had a stillbirth, and the fact that the child was named, buried, janazah prayed on them, gave a sense of closure and of comfort. And then all the teachings about that child being raised in Jannah, being reunited with that child later, all of these things give people's hearts exactly the medicine they need to get through such a difficult experience. And without that, it's far, far harder.
SubhanAllah.
Thank you so much, Imam Majid, for all the things you said. I've often reflected on these ayahs as a mother who's had to sort of proverbially let go, throw a child into the river and do something, separate from them in a hard way. I've been comforted by these ayahs, and I think it's important to understand that in Surah Al-Qasas, as you mentioned, the order was first for her to nurse him.
Yes.
And why I mention that is nursing a child is a bonding experience. You become bonded that way. And then later on, of course, because he had nursed with his mother, he was able to return to her and nurse from her, whereas he was, prevented from nursing from anyone else. But what it says to us is her ability to throw, where it requires more force than just letting go of a stick, was not out of a lack of attachment to him. It's not out of a lack of deep bonding and love with her child, because it was after she nursed him. So that ability to let go is out of tawakkul, not out of apathy. And I think it's important for us to understand this, that when we are ordered to have reliance on Allah and let go, detach our loved ones, we're not being told not to love. We're not being told to be indifferent to the people around us that any normal human being would love, like our children. And I think people sometimes misunderstand this idea. It is with that deep love and connection that we throw, that we let go, that we put them in the loving care of Allah. I mean, that is what this is. It's like when, and I'll just use a very simple example. If your child is about to go to college, and it does feel like throwing them in the river in some ways. They're leaving the home, they're going off by themselves. It feels very dangerous, honestly. You are putting them in the loving care of Allah. That's what you're doing. And that's what this ayah is reminding us of. And, something you had mentioned to me a while ago when I asked you about the word yam, al-yam. Al-yam is the river. It's just translated as river, but you had explained that there are different words for river. This particular word connotes a wide river, or a body of water that is very wide. And there are other words for bodies of water that emphasize their depth. and we'll discuss that later. But in this case, Al-Yam, it's a river that's wide, and what you had said to me is that his box is in the middle of a wide river, so that he's not disturbed by those at the shore, that he's almost protected by the fact that he's in the middle of a wide river and can't be reached by anyone else.
Mhm.
And when you had said that, it really made me think about the historical context of what's happening here. I just want to come back to that. There is a genocide happening, and all the baby boys of Bani Israel are being killed to protect Pharaoh's, anxiety and worry. That's our version. In fact, the version in the Old Testament, the reason the babies were being killed is because they were a demographic threat. There were too many of them. They were taking over Egypt, so they had to get rid of them. So genocides are done for a lot of different reasons. In our case, our version is Pharaoh saw a dream that a boy from Bani Israel of that born that year would grow up and overtake him. So he was killing all of them. And so there's this genocide happening. So if anyone had taken that box, other than Pharaoh, if it had been an Egyptian priest, an Egyptian farmer, he would have known that this is, some of these are assumptions, but that there would have been physical evidence on Musa alayhi salam that he was not an Egyptian.
Mm-hmm.
And he would have taken that baby to the authorities to be killed as a matter of obligation, or he would himself be risking his own life. The only one with the authority to find that baby and not kill him was Pharaoh himself.
Mm-hmm.
And so the river had to be wide so that no one else would find him. He was in the middle of a wide river. The wideness of the river was a protection.
Subhanallah. Beautiful. And having to go to the shore exactly where the palace is.
Yes.
Not to go anywhere else.
Not to go anywhere
like
else.
A destination so clear by Allah. The route is made in heaven. The route of because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, يَأْخُذُهُ. Not only will come there, but He will take him. Because also could have gone to the shore and somebody else come.
Someone else could have taken him.
Yes.
But
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, يَأْخُذُهُ عَدُوٌ لِي وَعَدُوٌ لَهُ. Ya subhanallah.
And the other thing that's important is عَدُوٌ لِي وَعَدُوٌ لَهُ. So he's my enemy and his enemy. He's reassuring his mother, this is my enemy. Don't worry. Your ally is Allah against this man.
Yes.
So don't worry. The other thing it's important to point out is that it's protecting Musa alayhi salam from any influence from Pharaoh. If he's raised in his own home, someone could say, well, maybe he was one of the pharaohs. There are sort of depictions of the story where he thinks he's an Egyptian and he's growing up and it's even called Egyptian prince, as if he thinks he's an Egyptian prince. He's thinking like an Egyptian prince. He identifies with Pharaoh, not Bani Israel. And that's not the case at all.
Not at all.
He was an
Absolutely.
enemy of mine and his. He doesn't think this is his ally. He's not identifying with the oppressor.
No.
He's not enjoying the palace as if it's his home. That's not the case. So it corrects any concept of Musa alayhi salam being on the wrong side of history at any point. And then I just wanted to comment on the word muhabba.
Mm.
So muhabba is, and I showered you with my love. Muhabba means love. And so I was reading about this word, and what I read is that, there's two words that both mean love. One is hub, and then one is muhabba. Hub, I think a lot of people know that word. It's the sort of common word for love, and then muhabba is like an extreme version of hub. It's a grammatical or linguistic form of the word that makes it more intense. And that this is the only place in the Quran with the word muhabba, that the word muhabba exists. So it's this very special form of intense love.
Yeah, and when I was reading Imam Nasafi and others saying this mahabbatan minni, that anyone have seen Musa alayhi salam as a child would love him too. You know, the Qatada, one of the commentators of the Quran, he said that they said in Musa's eyes there was something in his eyes that when no one would see him without loving him. There's something that will draw you to the child. But the fact that when the Mufassirin was talking about, they were talking about the how was found. They said that if Pharaoh was not sitting at the time on the beach or in the bank, the bank of the river. If we're not sitting at that time at the bank of the river, it would have been a different story maybe.
Right.
But himself, he's the one who says, "Bring me that tabut." They brought the tabut to him, and he's the first person to open the tabut to see Musa alayhi salam. And his wife was next to him. And that's why Asiya said that, قُرَّةُ عَيْنٍ لِي وَلَكَ, in other ayat, don't kill him. Don't do anything to him. She realized he was not an Egyptian.
Yeah. That
he might become a child for us. That's why he became قُرَّةُ عَيْنٍ لَهَا, because he brought her to Islam. But that the Quran did not say that statement. He didn't make that statement.
No.
And therefore, even the Mufassirin said that Pharaoh says, maybe you will become the comfort of your eyes. I don't know about mine.
Yeah.
All of that, of course, Mufassirin said that. It's not in the verses here in the Quran. But the point that the woman who saved him, he saved her.
Yeah. SubhanAllah.
The same thing, the woman that have taken Rasulullah in, Halima Sadiya, Rasul have taken her in, brought her to Islam.
Right.
It's very, very interesting how this Jaza'ul Ihsani illa al-Ihsan, the reward of excellence and kindness, nothing but excellence and kindness.
Yeah.
One thing I want to say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us in this verse, everything happened in Musa alayhi salam life after that. You have to understand from the beginning to the end. Allah said, وَلِتُصْنَعَ عَلَىٰ عَيْنِي. That means Allah prepared him for the mission to become a prophet. And preparing him for that mission, that means he has to go through some struggles.
Right.
If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلِتُصْنَعَ عَلَىٰ عَيْنِي, and then he has gone through all of this trouble in his life, Allah telling us that the test of life, it doesn't mean that Allah does not love you. Don't attribute any test of life that Allah doesn't like you.
Right.
Because here he said, لِتُصْنَعَ عَلَىٰ عَيْنِي, that you be raised, like صَنَعَ in Arabic, attribute to horses. That means you take the horse and raise the horse, and you the best horses, the Arabian horses, you do that to them so that they become a horse that can use for racing.
Yeah, you're breeding the best horse. Yeah,
exactly.
Training
For Allah
and
subhanahu wa ta'ala
breeding.
said to him, I made you, I looked after you, made you in a particular way so you can become a prophet. وَلِتُصْنَعَ عَلَىٰ عَيْنِي. Another ayah said, وَاصْطَنَعْتُكَ لِنَفْسِي.
Yes, yes. And sana is also manufacture or or build, craft, put together in a way that takes several steps and premeditation.
Yes.
Right. So
but in this context, you're right. It both
Mhm.
أحسن القيام على شيء. يعني someone really looked after something.
It's something that he's looking after, he's raising, he's developing.
Yes.
And it takes many steps. It takes it takes time for it to develop. There's a lot of things that go into it. And each part of the process is necessary for the final outcome.
Absolutely right. Absolutely.
And so that's the part I just wanted to emphasize, is the idea that it's a process.
Yes.
And every part of it is necessary. So all these things that happened to him needed to happen to make him, to prepare him for what he's about to do.
That's beautiful.
I can go ahead and read the next ayah, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. إذ تمشي أختك فتقول هل أدلكم على من يكفله فرجعناك إلى أمك كي تقر عينها ولا تحزن وقتلت نفسا فنجيناك من الغم وفتناك فتونا فلبثت سنين في أهل مدين ثم جئت على قدر يا موسى واصطنعتك لنفسي. So this is 40 and 41. Your sister went out saying, I will tell you someone who will nurse him. Then we returned you to your mother so that she should rejoice and not grieve. Later you killed a man, but we saved you from distress and tried you with other tests. You stayed among the people of Midian for years. Then you came here as I ordained. I have chosen you for myself. Or وَاصْطَنَعْتُكَ لِنَفْسِي could also mean I have developed you or crafted you for myself.
Yeah. It's very beautiful that after he asked for the help of his brother, Allah mentioned the sister.
Yes, that's right.
Like, you asked him for Harun, but remember, your sister helped you in the most difficult time.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting that he asked for the brother to help him with his mission, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioning to him with the role of the sister of saving him, which is something very important that you have to remember. Most of the surahs that talk about Musa alayhi salam life in the Quran, most of them are Meccan surahs.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the elite life of Musa alayhi salam, not after become a prophet in Bani Israel. Those are Madani surahs, like in Baqarah and so forth. And in the Meccan Quran, there's many verses mentioning the role of women, because the Meccan society have not thought that much of women.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, Surah Maryam, for example, Surah 19 in the Quran, is a Meccan surah. And there's many mentioning of the changing of perspective of the Arabs in about how to view the role of women in the Meccan Quran, whether protecting women from harm that been done to them, like defending the female children who've been wronged, or mentioning the accomplishment of women in the Quran. Here in this story, there's mention of two women so far. And I think we shared that in the beginning of this surah, that there are waters, many waters, but there's also women in the story of Musa alayhi salam at the symbolism, or the how the story begins from Ziyat al-Mara. Allah mentioning, when I say symbolism here, I'm not saying that they don't have a role. I'm talking about them in the story itself, showing you the significance of different period of life of Musa alayhi salam. In the beginning with the mother and the sister. In the middle is the two daughters of, before that, then you have Asiya, wife of Pharaoh. And then the two daughters of Shu'aib. Each one of them have saved him. Those women have saved Musa alayhi salam. The mother and the sister, and then the two daughters of Shu'aib give him shelter. And then the Asiya Pharaoh, the wife of Pharaoh, prevent them from killing him. For this is a Bakkan Quran. Talk about the importance of the role of women in the life of prophets.
Yeah.
For now is Tamshi Ukhtuka. How she walked and followed him. Her mother asked her to do so. Her mother knew the very dangerous mission, but the sister was very brave, very, very, have courage, a lot of courage. And bravery, it is not attributed to men only. That's Quran.
Right.
For she have a very dangerous mission. And when she went to the palace, she took a lot of risk.
Mm-hmm.
And why she was able to bring him back to his mother, because she observed that he is refusing to nurse from any woman that they tried to have him to nurse from them. Then she said to them, "Can I tell you who can do that?" That is really, can you imagine the tension and the fear? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and then we'll return you back to your mother. Why Allah returning back Musa to his mother?
Yeah.
My father, rahimahullah, said to me, if you know how Allah loves mothers, read this ayah more than once.
Mm.
He went to comfort the mother.
Yeah.
So that I can comfort her eyes. And let have this mother not to grieve. ولا تحزن. Ya Allah. And that's why nothing like motherhood. Nothing like motherhood, period.
Yeah.
That's why Rasulullah said, who the best person I should have spent time with, be in the company of? He said, your mother. Ya Rasulullah, who next? Your mother. Who next? Your mother. Who next? Then he said, father. That's not to belittle the father role.
No.
Especially with our audience to understand that. But the child come to this world, the person who worked harder for bringing the child to the world is the mother, not the father. Harder. 3 times Allah said that to compensate that mother for حملته أمه وهنا على وهن. The pregnancy process, the nursing, and all of that would take to be a mother.
Yeah.
Allah compensated for that. Not only that, He named Himself after the womb. أنا الرحمن خلقت الرحم وشققت لها اسما من اسمي. I'm الرحمن, I created the womb and named it after me. Name it after Himself.
Mm.
But can you imagine that? For when you read this, فرجعناك إلى أمك, I return you back to your mother, كي تقر عينها, that she can have a comfort, her eyes, have the comfort of her eyes. ولا تحزن, so it doesn't feel sad. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لا تخافي ولا تحزني, in Surah Al-Qasas, إنا رادوه إليك. Have no fear, no sadness, I'm going to return him back to you. That's why it's prohibited for anyone to separate a mother from her child, unless the mother is harming the child.
Subhanallah.
نهى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أن يفرق بين المرأة وولدها. So prohibited that separating mother from her child.
Yeah, and those who
Not
do
only
that are
let me tell you a story.
very
The
wicked.
Rasul was sitting under a tree, and one of the Sahaba went and took the little chick of the bird,
Mm-hmm.
Or they say he took the eggs. And the pigeon, when the Rasulullah was with them and he went away and come back, and the pigeon, the mother, started flying above the head of Rasulullah. Rasulullah قال من فجع هذه في ولدها, who have scared and frightened this pigeon and took her little one. The Sahaba said, I did it, Ya Rasulullah. Rasulullah said, return it back to the nest. Take it back to the nest. For a bird, he said, don't separate the bird from the little one. Can you imagine that? Today, you know what the worst thing happened in slavery in the West? When they used to sell the children, separate the children from their mothers, they used to believe that the African American and the African, the human being has no feeling. Therefore, when you separate them from their children, they're not human like us, slave masters. For we sell the child, you take the child from the mother and sell them to somebody else. That's what they did. They break families because those people who thought that they have the power to do so, they didn't consider other people human beings.
This is happening today.
Yeah.
In family courts around the country where, for whatever reason, out of revenge or when people get divorced, they try to deprive one parent of the children out of spite, out of anger, out of revenge, out of whatever, and don't understand the gravity of this
absolutely
wrongdoing. I wanted to just reiterate something you said that I thought was so important, which is the feelings of his mother were so important that Allah is mentioning it in this ayah. He's saying he's doing something so that she won't feel sad. And how important feelings of a woman is to Allah. After this ayah, you can never say, dismiss it. This woman's she's just crazy. Don't worry about her. Dismiss the feelings of a woman or anyone, any person. How heavy are human emotions in our faith? Even the distress of an animal is important.
Yes.
So people who dismiss feelings, dismiss how something makes someone feel, and think that this is nonsense, it doesn't understand the intelligence, the emotional intelligence that is imbued in Islam, and the importance of emotional intelligence, the importance of caring for each other's feelings, holding each other's hearts with velvet gloves.
It's beautiful.
I wanted to, I had heard this really interesting point in a tafsir by Sheikh Abdul Nasser Janga, who did a wonderful tafsir of Surah TaHa. I encourage anyone to listen to it, where he compares this ayah with a very similar one in Surah Al-Qasas. And he says that in this ayah, the word for return is وَرَجَعْنَاكَ إِلَىٰ أُمِّكَ. We returned you to your mother. But in Surah Al-Qasas, when Allah is speaking directly to his mother, a different word is used. Radduna, right? So the word radduhu ilayki, raddu also means return, but the two words are different in their nuanced meaning. And I thought this was so amazing. He said that the word raja, which is the word used here, where Allah is explaining to Musa his life, is the word used when you know the entire plan. Everything is laid out, it's very defined, and so the entire trip is laid out for you, and then you're returning at a very specific time in a very specific way. So imagine you have your whole itinerary like spelled out, A, B, C, I'm gonna land at this time. I'm going to then take a car. It's going to be 3 hours. And then I'm going to take this train. And then I'm going to return at 3:05. That's the word for Raja, where everything is very known and very laid out. But the other word, Radu, is where you don't really know. You're kind of just going and you're not sure when you're going to come back. And so he was saying that when Allah was talking to Musa, the details of how he was going to return him were not clear to her from her vantage point. And she had to have a great deal of reliance on Allah and faith.
Trust.
But from the perspective of Allah, everything was laid out perfectly. And he knew every step of the process. And so then the word Raja was used, that we returned you to her in this very laid out, known, deliberate way. And I just was so blown away by those two words and when they were used and why.
That is beautiful. And to elaborate on that more, in this one, he talked to mother, to Musa alayhi salam, because Musa alayhi salam also, he knows how he went back to his mother.
Yes.
Himself, he knows. You know exactly.
It's in retrospect.
Mother. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But Musa alayhi salam knows Rajo. The mother is in Radu ilayk, but you don't know how, but I'm gonna bring him back to you. But now, since it become past tense, because the other فرجعناك إلى أمك إن رادوه إليك, we will bring him back to you. But here فرجعناك إلى أمك, we brought you back to your mother. One of them talk about future, what's going to happen, bring him back, and he's telling him that how we brought you back. You know, therefore one of them is talk about the thing that even Musa alayhi salam knew, and the mother didn't know because it's talk about the future. إن رادوه إليك.
Yeah. It's a beautiful place to stop. We're actually going to, inshallah, next time pick up from this ayah. There's more to talk about.
Yes.
And more to unpack. Jazakallahu khairan, Imam Majid.
Barakallahu feekum. Shukran.
Assalamu
alaikum.
We hope you enjoyed this conversation. And if you did, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Share this episode with others who may be interested in the meaning of the Quran. Also, we love hearing from our listeners. Tell us your reflections at Quran.conversations, our Instagram page. We read every single one. Finally, we hope this podcast encourages your own reflective journey with the Quran. This week's reflection prompt is this. Looking back on your own life, when have difficulties turned out to be divine gifts in retrospect? Until next time, keep reflecting on the Quran. Assalamu alaikum.